Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to all who are here, members of the press, members of the People's Action Movement, members of the Concerned Citizens Movement. Let me greet the Honorable Sean K. Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement, and Mrs. Shani Gray, the next representative of the people of Number One. I am very happy to be here this morning, and I start by commending, of course, the good people of St. Kitts for a fantastic show at the St. Kitts Music Festival. After a 2-year hiatus, they have come back with a bang, and certainly I and my family felt good to be here and to be hosted by our brothers and sisters here in St. Kitts. It would be remiss of me on this big platform not to say that we expect to host you for Culturama in Nevis, and so we look forward for you coming over for Culturama this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that this joint press conference is timely. It is timely because now that the festivities are over and the music festival is over, it is time for us now to look to the future and to see what we intend to do as a country in this election that is upcoming. It is quite clear to all of us that St. Kitts and Nevis finds itself at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads in our history where we must make a determination as to how we see our country and how we see ourselves as constituent elements of this great nation of ours. It is true that since independence we have made considerable strides as a country, and that Kittitians and Nevisians at home and abroad have much that we can be proud of. The question is, can we protect those strides, and can we build on that foundation that has been built over the years? And that to me is what this election is all about. This election requires us to engage in a critical examination of those who are offering themselves for office. Those who are offering themselves in the various constituencies, those who are offering themselves nationally, we have to critically evaluate them. There are some who are coming to politics for the first time, and they will come with a track record of what they've done in their lives thus far. There are others, like myself, who are coming to say, let judge us on our record, judge us on what we have done. And I can say here today that I am exceedingly proud of the record of the People's Action Movement and the CCM and our caucus in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis in the last 7 years. I'm exceedingly proud because I believe that a lot has been accomplished. A lot of good things have been done. And we were well on the way to the kind of St. Kitts and Nevis that we all want. However, along the way, we lost our way. And we lost our way in part because leadership emerged, and certain characteristics of that leadership emerged, which were unwelcomed and which are inimical to the development of our country. And when the time came to take a stand, I am proud that we took the right stand, and that history will in time judge us and say to us that we did the right thing to cut ties with a leader who had lost his way. Now, there were options available to us. We did not need to be here. We offered compromise. We offered a new position. And those efforts, certainly on the part of the Honorable Sean Richards and myself, were spurned. Those efforts were ignored. The attitude was that it is either my way or the highway. If I can't control it all, I prefer to mash it all up. I don't know if that is on press-like language, but I believe the people of the country understand what it means to mash up something. And that seemed to have been the attitude, and we felt that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve better. And what have we seen since then? We have seen a level of activity, an orgy of spending and efforts made in every quarter to corrupt the institutions of government and the institutions of state. I believe that what we now see as a remnants of government, that it is in its final throes, and that in the next week at least we must have an election date. And when that election date is announced, I am appealing to the people of St. Kitts and the people of Nevis to go out and do the right thing. Not to vote for something that is being offered to you now, because I think all of you, even those of you who are getting something now, understand that it is not genuine. It is intended to give you something today for today, and tomorrow you're forgotten. And I use this prison project or jail, because prison is a big word. Everybody understands jail. I use this jail project as an example. And I have said that any leader anywhere in the world who prefers to fund incarceration over education is a failed leader. Let me say it again. Any leader anywhere in the world who prefers to fund incarceration over education is a failed leader. And Sean has said it perfectly. What is the value of a $2.4 billion jail at this point in our history? We are just coming out of 2 years of a global pandemic when our economy suffered. Our people lost work, the workers at the Marriott, the workers at the Four Seasons, the workers at the Park Hyatt, our taxi drivers, our artisans, our entertainers, all of them were out of bread for 2 years. What are we offering them? Jail? Because jail cannot do anything for them. Where's the training? Where's the development? Where's the New Boston High School? You know, I've heard the argument being made that, oh, cabinet approved the jail. And it seems a very interesting argument that anything good that has happened in the country, Timothy Harris said, I did it. Anything that is questionable, he said, the cabinet did it. But who was the head of cabinet? And this jail project was one of a number of projects that were discussed and ventilated in the cabinet. The question I think the press and the public must ask is, why has Timothy Harris made the jail a priority? That to me is the fundamental question. He has not made Boston High School a priority. That was a cabinet decision. He has not made drilling for water so that the people of Keon and the surrounding areas can get a regular supply of water after all these years of suffering. That was ventilated and agreed in the cabinet. That is not a priority. Universal health insurance. Every one of us in our country have clamored for a new system to allow our people access to health care in an affordable way. All of us have the example of friends and family who are sick, and we see people going around with a little card asking for donations. Universal health insurance was intended to do away with all that, but that hasn't been a priority. JNF, Alexandra Hospital, our clinics, healthcare, none of those have been a priority. Our marijuana industry, the cabinet has met, and I think my colleagues here will bear me out. I don't use marijuana, let me be clear. But every week I ask, what's happening with this commitment that had been made? That is not the Harris priority. The jail is his priority. And whenever things don't make sense, all people in Nevis say it's because perhaps we don't have all the facts. So I am asking the press to start to dig and to start to look. And when you start to dig and you start to look, it comes down to one thing. Who's making money off the jail? That really is what it comes down to. Who is making money off the jail? And I can tell you it is not you. If you follow the money, you start to understand why the jail is a priority over education. The jail is a priority over a new industry in terms of marijuana. The jail is a priority over healthcare facilities and over universal health insurance. The jail is even a priority over water for the people of Keon. A jail, and I want you all to call it what it is, it's Harris Jail. I don't know who's going to go in it. I don't know. I don't plan to be there for sure. But I'm saying to you that if a jail is being built, then the second question you must ask yourself, who is it being built for? Who you plan to put in there? And you start to ask these real questions, because I think it is critical for us to ask these hard questions, because leadership that makes that type of decision and that prioritizes the incarceration, the locking up of our people, over their education, over their health care, over the development of new industries in the country, tells you that that is leadership that has lost its way. And leadership that is concerned only with self, with family, and with securing wealth. Now, I have seen the Honorable Sean Richards has gone to the site, and the protestations that he, as an elected member An elected parliamentarian in this country can't go up to ask about a jail. We all know Timothy Harris, and we know how he operates. We know if Timothy Harris paves a sidewalk, he has to have a groundbreaking ceremony, and he has to have an opening ceremony for the sidewalk. How come this jail started in the dead of night? In fact, if it wasn't for Sean Richards, I wouldn't even know that the jail had started. But the jail started, so ask yourself, who providing security? Who providing the blocks and the construction? Most importantly, some 5,500 passports, I'm told, are involved. Who's doing the processing? I want people to start to ask these questions. Because when you ask them, you start to say, oh, now I understand why this jail is a priority. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with advancing our people in any way. It has to do with enriching a select few. And that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is of fundamental importance. Now, I brought my phone with me. And you'll forgive me if I don't have a prepared speech per se. But I was consumed with the music festival, Mr. Richards, so please forgive me. But a document that I have is of interest because it is the budget document for St. Kitts and Nevis for 2021. And there on the project number head 06051 and listed as project 0605119, we see the construction of a new correctional facility. So it's in the budget. Now what is interesting is that the estimated cost that is budgeted, this was a budget that was brought by Timothy Harris as Minister of Finance and Prime Minister just last year. In the budget, on the head 0605119, construction of new correctional facility, we saw the prison estimated cost 88 million EC dollars. I want that to sink in for a minute. 88 million EC dollars. That's a public document. That's in the budget. Well, how in good God's name 88 million get to 2.4 billion? How? And these are the questions we must start to ask. Because the story now that, oh, it's not the public spending and it is our passport. And our passport belongs to you. It belongs to me. It belongs to all of us. And so you must ask the question, how did the cost of the prison jump from $88 million, that's the estimated cost, to a provision now for over $2.4 billion, same jail? I don't know if they're going to put golf course, nightclub, spa, casino, and other things in there. But at that price, for that facility, I suspect by next music festival, most people will be staying there. Because the level of luxury that is going to offer. And, you know, we joke because sometimes it sounds like a laughing matter. But if you budget $88 million in December of 2021, how now? You're talking about $2.4 billion. So the priority, that is the jail. And the amounts now that we're talking about for this jail expose the fact that this is a scam of all scams. And I agree with the Honorable Sean Richards that the PAM-CCM team is calling on this project to be halted so that some consultations can occur. And if the consultations cannot happen within the few weeks left of this government, then it is certainly our view that the project must be stopped now and the new government must reevaluate. Now, I've heard some people say that the current conditions at the prison are not good, and that we therefore need a new facility. I do not oppose that view. I feel that a humane government must look out for all members of the community, even those who have made mistakes and who find themselves incarcerated. However, I cannot see that any government anywhere in the world would make that a priority over education, over healthcare, over training and development for our young people, over building people. And so, in my view, a new prison cannot be at the top of the agenda. And when we start to evaluate this new project, we start to understand why it has been plucked out of the bag and elevated to the top. And I believe that all of us should be outraged about this. Now, it brings me full square to what I want to say for the next few minutes about this notion of fair share. It is language that is easy to say, and I think a lot of people are asking naturally, what does it mean? And I want you to contextualize that Dr. Timothy Harris has repeatedly said that Nevis, that I am proud to represent, and that my colleagues are here, Alexis Jeffers and Eric Evelyn, are proud to represent, that Nevis has got some $400 million, he says, and that somehow we ought to be satisfied. That we're being greedy by us saying that we have not got a fair share of the inflows that have come to the country. Well, I want the people of Nevis and the people of St. Kitts, the people of goodwill, because ultimately we're brothers and sisters, to reflect that $2.4 billion in a jail is 6 times what Nevis has got over the past 7 years. It means that on a single facility to lock up people, you are spending 6 times what Nevis has received for its developmental needs over the past 7 years. Now, if that is fair, if that is what our people are willing to consider as adequate and equitable in our country, then something is wrong. And these are the points I think need to be made, because you hear the refrain constantly that somehow the people of Nevis are being greedy and that they're being ill-served because we are saying that all of the people in our country deserve a fair share. So what does fair share mean? Fair share is not a Nevis versus St. Kitts issue. I want to make that very clear. Fair share is saying that all the people of the country must benefit from whatever is available in the country. And if our passport is being negotiated, and that is the principal source of revenue now, accounting in some years for 45% or more of the national budget, then it means to me that that national asset and the proceeds of that national asset have to be shared equitably. And that is all that we have been saying. Not just the people of Nevis who have been locked out, but the people of St. Kitts as well. My colleagues are here from PAM. They used to complain, all of us used to complain, that they want a youngster in their community to be put on the STEP program. What was the refrain? Program is closed. That is what we were told. Can't add new people because the program is closed. Things are harsh because of COVID. The Honorable John L. Powell, he's here. For months and months and months, he requested a report on the STEP program. John L., you remember? Every week, somebody belly hurting them, they can't come, they're sick, they're late, they whatever. Cannot get these basic reports and basic information that could guide the cabinet. The PAP program. We were aware that potential candidates for the PLP were able to put people on PAP when sitting members of the cabinet can't do it. These things have to be said. So when we talk about fair share, we're talking about fair share for all of us. The Venezuelans gave us some homes. Where were the homes built? All in one constituency. I'm here in one village, not even one constituency, one village. Then what happened to the other people in St. Kitts and Nevis? What happened to the people of Cairn and Sandy Point? People of Newtown and Number 2, where the journal has been agitating for housing for a long time. So fair share means that all of us, St. Kitts, Nevis, Kittitians, Nevisians, all of us, as the old people in Nevis who say, Tout moun sama bagay. I don't know if that's French, but all of you understand. Everybody will get an opportunity to share in what is available in the country. I don't see that any person of right mind could oppose that. The peace program, we have all supported it. We continue to support the program. We see the transformation that the program has caused in terms of our numbers, in terms of violent crime. We voted for and support that program. But when you look at what has happened and how the program is being managed, millions of dollars going from the Consolidated Fund to Development Bank. And once it gets to Development Bank, we don't know what happens to it after that. A murky black hole. And I have said to the Honorable Sean Richards that I want him to put me in charge of investigations. They call me the sheriff. I want to investigate something. You want to join me? Because I want to know what is going on at Development Bank. I hear they want to do audit of Skelec, they want to do audit of UDC, they want to do audit of SCASPA, but nobody talking about Development Bank, which is the blackest, darkest hole in terms of money that is happening in this country. Where the money gone? When it is put there, what is done with it? And again, as sitting members of the cabinet, you cannot get a report. One day you hear it's 1,200 people on the piece. Next day you hear it's 1,300, and it's back and forth. You cannot get anything from the Minister of National Security, who was also the Prime Minister, Timothy Harris. And so what are we to do? So when we talk about fairness, we're talking about fairness across the length and breadth of St. Kitts and Nevis, where we can put the money that is being made to better use to ensure the sustainable development of our country. And that, to me, is what this election is about. This election is about what we as a people want to see for ourselves, our families, and ultimately for our country. And I'm hopeful that when the date is announced, and it will be soon, that our people will go out and do the right thing. Now I'm available for questions. I'm here in support of the People's Action Movement, in support of this new effort. As we have said, 2 parties, 1 movement, or perhaps 2 movements moving together, CCM and PAM. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement. And maybe it is right that we get away from the party idea and we start to move people forward. And that is what we are seeking to do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you, the Honorable Sean Richards, for inviting me, and I certainly look forward to the questions from the press. Thank you.